All right, let's go.
All right, we're live. Yeah,
we're live.
I haven't seen your faces in a while.
I know. Graham, hold on. Did you trim your beard like since yesterday?
It's father time.
It's father time. I'm preparing for this big winter storm that we're supposed to have down here in the southeast this weekend. So, some people are saying we're going to get like a foot of snow. I think it's going to be like ice though.
I think it's good. I think we're gonna get hit too. I think we're gonna. I think the low here on Friday is -10.
Yikes!
So that's gonna be. It's gonna be cold. Yeah, definitely gonna be no outside rides for me.
Nice. Well, maybe if everybody's cold, this will be a good, worthwhile discussion for them to listen to, curled up by a fire. You know. So, let's kick it off. So, welcome. Everybody, new year, new us. I wasn't here for the first pod, but I'm back. Welcome to the Mixed Surfaces Podcast, where we talk about gravel, mountain biking, cyclocross, a little bit of road biking, and everything in between. Always open for suggestions and love to hear the discussion from the crowd and the comments. But thanks for joining us, either live or later. We've got a special guest today, which won't quite hop into yet, but we are excited to have someone on here that is hugely impactful in the community, both cycling and then just in her local community and things like that too. So we'll talk more about that, but want to thank our sponsors, Reland Nutrition. We don't forget about you. Y'all, now's the time when you're probably hitting the gym. It's that off season where you're trying to get a little bit stronger. So Reland is your go-to source for having some protein after. It tastes really good. They got lots of different flavors. I think that's what Jason's sipping on right now, I would guess. But check it out. We've got a discount code for you. It'll be pinned in the comments. We'll scroll the banner across the screen at some point. Also, Olive olive oil, best olive oil you'll taste. I know you think I'm crazy. But you got to try this stuff out. It's really tasty. High phenolic olive oil, so it's got all the good phenols in there that keep you young, cancer-free, looking great like Jason does every day. It comes in a capsule form, or you can just buy it in the bottle and cook with it or put it on your salads. And then, of course, our trusty local bike shops, World of Bikes and Flat Tire Bike Company, repping it there, Jason. So, yeah. You guys, now's the time to get in, capture some of those late 2025 discounts before the new model years come out. I know everybody's looking to move bikes. You're getting ready for the spring season. You're going to put all that fitness in. You're going to be on the trainer. You might as well have a bike that goes fast. So step on down there or get your bike serviced. Now's a great time to get your suspension done. But
really, we're pounding out the suspensions. Just every day, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, we don't want excuses. When you finish the race and you don't get the result that you got, don't blame the bike. Don't blame the bike, Graham, Jason. When I beat you guys, don't be like, "Oh, my bike was not shifting right." Electronic shifting, we're good to go.
We should be good to go. I won't be caught dead blaming the bike. So unless I have to, unless I have to, but. Well, cool. So, what do you guys been up to? You guys been riding at all?
I'm a trainer.
Oof. Nope. Don't do that.
Riding a trainer.
That's I did 4 hours on the trainer. Oh no, two and a half, like back-to-back days, and man, it's just brutal. It's brutal on the body. But yeah, so it's gonna be trainer season until it warms up.
I love the trainer. I don't have any problem with the trainer.
I mean,
me too.
That's fine. I don't love the trainer. In fact, I have a trainer for sale if anybody wants to buy one.
Oh, what do you got?
Oh,
I've got a kicker core, Wahoo kicker core.
Oh,
yeah.
I'll talk. Lindsay was talking about getting Lindsay one.
$10. You take $10
together.
Oh,
yeah.
Like a love cycles kind of thing?
Like love cycles.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that could be good. You could watch a movie together or something like that. But no trainer for me. No trainer for me. But, well, should we get into this episode? And
yes, let's do that.
So, Aria, who are we bringing on today?
We are... Okay, I think I want to do this the best justice I can. So I'm gonna play an intro video so that you guys we can introduce our guest, Rebecca Rusch, the Queen of Pain herself, is here with us today. Super stoked. You can see this, the smile on my face here. Rebecca
I love
Knight.
that name, by the way.
Uh,
I love that name that they coined her that.
Right? Yeah, she's as tough as they come. She's as tough as they come. So let's play the intro here so we can bring her in, guys. All right, let's let me know if the sound is not working, but I think it should be. Let me know.
I don't hear anything.
You're not hearing the sound?
No.
Hold on here. Let's see here. Let's make sure the sound is working.
That's why we do this podcast live. This is great. People get to see the meat and potatoes of it.
Hey, you know, we're crazy like that.
Yeah, you know
Why
what?
not?
We're bike riders. We're not tech people.
That's
Correct.
true.
Oh, wait, no, Rhea, you are a tech person.
Speak for yourself. Yeah, speak for yourself.
Did you hit unmute?
Let me see here. Can you hear it?
You can
Nope.
blame it on me. We can't hear it or see it. Rebecca,
You can. Okay. How about let's see if we can switch it this way.
No sound. Do you want to sing? Nothing. No sound.
What is going on?
Motivational.
But all right, we'll
How about you introduce her while you're watching the video?
Simply the best, better than all the rest.
all right, Rebecca, we're gonna bring you in, and
Oh my gosh, amazing! And I'll do my own intro, okay?
yes,
No worries.
we ride bikes, not
Yeah,
take.
this
Well,
is
yeah,
beautiful. So for those who are listening, hi everyone, and thanks for having me. I'm stoked to be here, and thanks for choosing that video. That's actually my speaker reel. That is kind of a little highlight reel, and it's just talking about all the cool stuff I've done in the wilderness and 35 years of being a professional athlete and explorer, and really what the concept is how bikes and doing hard things is our greatest arena and training ground for life. And so I think that's kind of what the people listening here are about. We ride on mixed surfaces for a lot of reasons other than to go fast. So, and I can feel for you because I'm a podcaster too. I'm like, oh, the video's not working.
yeah, we should
Good. We just can't hear the sound. But hey, we'll link it in the show notes, and you guys
absolutely,
can watch it later, and that's okay.
absolutely, awesome. Good to have you. Okay, so first, I want to kind of go through a little bit of the results here. Some of your results. This is not all of it, but I'm gonna kind of cherry pick some of my favorite. 2014 Unbound 200. You killed that. How was that, by the way?
Okay, was that my first Unbound?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So, oh yeah, it was my first Unbound. So I finished third overall. 2 minutes.
No, you're fast overall.
No, third.
2014.
First woman.
Oh, okay.
Third
Oh, yeah, that's right.
overall. There were two guys in front of me. We'd been riding together the whole time. Dan Hughes and another guy's name that I'm missing right now. But yeah, and they were 2 minutes ahead of me because I took a little wrong turn right going into the school. Anyone who's been there, the college right at the end.
Yes.
But I won 200 Unbound. But I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go to the race because, well, to me as a mountain biker, like a sponsor said, you have to go to this 200-mile gravel race. And I was like, 200 miles, no big deal. That's short for me. But to me at the time, gravel racing was equivalent to road racing. And how I feel about road racing is that it's not really bike riding. I'm just going to say it. Or it's not bike riding that entices me. You know, being in a peloton, staring at someone else's ass,
Yeah.
I can say ass. And so I was told I had to go to this event as an obligation to a partner. And I was like, oh my God. And this was kind of before gravel was anything. You know, there were no gravel bikes yet. There was none of that. I hadn't launched, I guess, Private Idaho yet.
What did you ride?
Yeah, I went to this. What did I ride? I rode like a cyclocross bike. Basically. Yeah. So that's what you had. And I remember I told my husband, I'm like, you have to make, normally I don't ride with music because I just like to be in my own head and in the zone. And I'm like, you have to make me the best playlist ever. Like, this is going to be so boring. I'm going to fall asleep because it's just going to suck. And I was wrong. It was actually really engaging, really fun. Like the surfaces kept me engaged. And I love endurance. I come from 24-hour racing and multi-day racing. And so the distance wasn't that big of a deal. It was more that I didn't want to be in a peloton with 5,000 people, you know, jockeying for position. But it wasn't that at that time. It was like me and two other guys, like really kind of out there in the wind. And it was a really big adventure. And, you know, I didn't need that playlist. And I finished that event and I was just like, you know, there's something to this. And I think I was the first athlete that went, I know I was the first athlete that went there with kind of a professional attitude of like, you know, Dan Hughes, who owned Sunflower Bikes at the time, brought me his mechanic, Colin, and we talked about, here's how I want my aid stations to be. Nobody gets to sit down. I want like my food and I want everything ready. And I brought like 2 hydration packs. You can just like give me the new one, 2 toolkits. But that had never been seen before in gravel. Racing. You know, I brought Leadville racing, I brought 24-hour racing to the scene. And it was kind of fun because people were like, whoa, so this is like the pro setup, you know? But as you know, in an endurance event, the clock doesn't stop. And so I even remember yelling at Dan Hughes because we were sharing mechanic and sharing pit. I'm like, you don't get to sit in the chair. Get up. You don't sit down. And he was just like, whoa.
Like, hey, she's serious.
Yeah, super serious. So I actually like went to that event kicking and screaming, but I came away from it with a real vision of like, man, you know, dirt riding is still dirt riding. It's not road riding. It's like the best mountain bike and still parts of mountain bike. But that more people could come. And I had this real realization that like, this is really fun and more people can come because it's not as intimidating as single track mountain biking. There's an easier barrier to enter or lower barrier to entry. And so really that race was the inspiration for me to launch Rebecca's Private Idaho a year later. And now it's going into year 14 and this, you know, event in my hometown. Cause I was like, you know what? So I came home from that event and I started riding. I lived in Sun Valley area for over 10 years. I started riding places that I'd never been around my own hometown. I'm like, oh, I can connect this single track and take that dirt road and then do this and do that. So it actually really opened up my mind to adventure riding. You know, people call it gravel riding, but I just think it's adventure riding. It's like, where can your bike go? And then quickly what happened is like equipment started developing and stuff like that. So that's a long answer to like Unbound, you know, 14. That was after my 4th Leadville win and, you know, won 24-hour worlds a few times and then went to gravel, like kicking and screaming, but came away just like, man, this is cool. This is a great way to get people riding and for me to like explore more of my own backyard.
Yeah. And you have such diverse, and we'll get into RPI because these two fellas here need to experience that. You know, it's just fantastic. Leadville, 2013, 3rd place. Leadville again, 2012. Actually, funny story. So I was in Leadville 2024, and my wife was going to do Leadville that year. So I was kind of, we stayed up there for the summer, and I was just kind of, you know, recounting the course with her. And one day I did half of the course, and coming back, you know, that last drag, that last gravel climb all the way when you're almost to the town, and they have the names of the years.
Yeah.
And you kept on popping up and popping up. I'm like, how many times has she won this? And it's and I'm thinking of myself, because at that point, obviously I only done like 50 miles, and I'm thinking, man, you must be cooked if you know somebody's chasing you. It's all pretty much uphill there until the finish line. It was pretty cool to see your name there.
Yeah, it's called the Boulevard, and if you know,
Yes.
you know, because Leadville's not 100 miles; it's 103 miles, and it's like uphill to the end, and you're looking over your shoulder because you don't get splits in that event, and it's just, I remember you pass the school and you finally crest the climb, and you get on the pavement. There's a little more climbing, and there's a little sign, and this is something that's really funny. There's a sign on the right side, right at the crest of the hill before you start to roll down and you can see the finish, and it's like a slow sign. It says like, you know, like slow down or some sort of sign like that. And I just remember every time I'm like, I got to the slow sign, no way am I slowing down, and you're just there. So anyway,
I know.
who's riding Leadville, you can like, you get up the boulevard, you get to the slow speed sign, and you're like, no way, I'm not going slow now.
Man. And once you get on a boulevard, well, when you're doing it, like, because there was, well, the next woman, how far behind was the next woman?
I mean, I've won it four times, and thank goodness it's never come down to a sprint. Thank like, oh, like sprinting after that many hours.
That'll be brutal.
Looking behind you. I remember one year, I think it was the second year that I won. I get up, I see that slow down sign, and I'm like, okay, I'm there. And I'm like, I'm partway down the boulevard and going, and I see a person in like pink kit, like maybe 100 or 200 yards in front of me, and I can see them, and I'm like, what? And so I'm trying to sprint because people have been telling me along the way, like, oh, you're the first woman, but like, you don't really know. And this, before the helicopters, before any of that stuff. Yeah. I see someone in pink kit with like curly blonde hair sticking out from under the helmet. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And I'm like, I get to that top, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to have my celebration. And I see this person, and I'm just like trying to sprint. Like, I think that's another woman. Oh my gosh. And they finish in front of me, and it was a dude with and blonde curly hair, but like, he kind of ruined my like Champs-Élysées finish.
Sure.
Like, yay, thanks, that was fabulous. What about me? Yeah. And I'm like the whole time being like, dang, I'm second. Are you kidding me?
Thought I had this in the bag.
Oh, that's so funny.
So yeah, I remember that year. It wasn't a very nice finish because I was like, God, I've been this whole time. I should have been going faster because someone was in front of me. But anyway, time plays tricks on you after riding that long, for sure.
And so Rebecca, you've been like, it's just I feel like we could talk about your Palmares all day long, and we could spend hours, and I want to hear about some of these stories. But I'm kind of curious. You know, you've been at the top end of not just the sport, but you know, multiple disciplines of endurance sport, and challenged yourself in such a way, and then you know, ultimately come to this point where you founded RPI, Rebecca's Private Idaho. And for those of the listeners that aren't on there, I encourage you to go look at this race, and we're going to talk about it here a little bit. But it seems to be, from the outside looking in, one of the coolest races and well-structured or events. I don't know if it's a race, adventures. Let's call it an adventure. But I'm curious to see, like, how do you feel that your race sits in the current, you know, modern gravel age, where gravel is turning more like road cycling? You know, you just hinted at it, right? Like, you know, talking about even races like the Mid-South, which were so spirited, and now they're a race. You know, how do you find that talk about a little bit about Rebecca's Private Idaho and how that falls and what you're trying to get at with this awesome event that you put on?
Yeah, I founded it with the intention, and this hasn't changed. The intention and I called it Rebecca's Private Idaho because when I went out and was scouting courses after my first Unbound, I'm like, wow, there's just like, you feel like you're on this adventure, you know, this solo adventure, and there's no one out here. And literally, when you leave Sun Valley, Ketchum, Idaho, like, you don't see houses, you don't see, you guys know what it's like when you get off the beaten path. And so I was like, one, I want to show people like what's out there so that they maybe fall in love with nature and fall in love with the place and want to protect it. But I also want to show people internally what kind of exploration they can have if they do something way harder than they thought they could ever do. And so the vision was what I call people, purpose, place. Bring people together. There's nothing like getting a group of people together. Everybody listening knows what that feels like. AI cannot replace us hanging out in a group, and so people, and then purpose and place. And the place is so special. Idaho really is what they call Alaska the last frontier, but Idaho really is quite special. And you can get away and off the beaten track to be able to have this sort of internal exploration plus a community connection. And then the purpose, which it's always been, is to fuel more bike rides through my foundation or just to get more people riding bikes. Because I truly believe that if we all rode bikes together, the world would be a happier, better place. And that is really the gist of it, is to collect people in a beautiful place and get them together. And that hasn't changed. What has changed in sort of the evolution of gravel, like we already talked about, there were no gravel bikes. There was even the concept of gravel riding wasn't even a thing.
Yeah.
There were these adventure rides like Unbound and that that have been around forever, and like Ragbray and like all these like adventure rides, but there wasn't this gravel segment. I think it's really cool. I think it's really cool that dirt road riding has opened up more people to ride bikes. I think that's awesome. As far as the race scene, I'm going to be honest, I have mixed feelings about it. Because here's what I saw. After I did Unbound, Ted King came in, all these ex-pro road racers came in and were like, this is cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. It's really relaxed. Everything's fun. And it's more roadies. And the roadies came in and they loved it. And sorry, roadies, but as more roadies came in, they wanted to bring a broken system into what we had. Yep. And they're like, road racing is dying in America. Road racing sucks. Nobody's signing up for a UCI license. And then come to gravel and like, this is super fun. Let's do all this stuff. So I like to say, and they say this in Idaho, you say it when people come to Sun Valley from California, it's like, let the place change you. Don't
change the place. Yeah.
And so here's what I think is really cool about the evolution of gravel. More people are riding bikes. That's awesome. There's more opportunity for athletes. There's more sponsorship. There's more coverage. Which is great in some ways, because ultimately I want people to ride bikes. However that looks, that's great.
Bikes, yeah.
But I will say there are some races and aspects that it is becoming a cookie cutter of what American road racing was, which everyone can agree was a broken system because participation was down. People weren't doing it anymore. And so I think we're at a really cool point where, and I think here's the cool thing. There are 1 million gravel events now, and people can select the kind of experience they want to have. So if you want to go race UCI gravel racing, you can. And if you want to go to Rebecca's Private Idaho and have an adventure, and you're still racing, it is not easy. Okay.
No.
I'm going to tell you, it's not easy. It's going to fucking challenge you, and you're going to push yourself. So it depends what you want. Are you looking for a road race, or are you looking for an adventure ride? And then there's everything in between. There's some races that are a little bit of a hybrid of both. And so I do think it's nice that people have choices. And I hope that event directors, I think this is what is unique about independent event directors, is they can make the event what they want. And I've always, even as a pro racer, when I chose events, people are like, how did you decide where you want to go? It's like, what's the vibe of the event? Where's a cool place I want to go ride? and like I wanted to go to Leadville. I'm going to Morocco in a couple weeks to ride my bike to do a race because I wanted to go to Morocco, you know. And so people have the choice, and I guess that's what I say when people are like, "Oh, you said gravel or this or Unbound is that," and they're banning, you know, they're banning like aero bars or this or that or other. I'm like, you know what? You can choose your adventure. You can choose what you want.
Right.
So I do love that is still maintained within gravel, that yes, there's a pro road racy aspect. And quite honestly, the year I did the Unbound 350, you know, I did a bunch of 200s, won a bunch of them. And then I was like, you know what? I don't want to need to bring a domestique to like help me win the race, or I don't have a team. And so I moved to the 350 because that was more my style of like doing my own solo ride, riding hard by myself within a community, but still doing my ride. So I did the 350 and that was awesome. And so people can choose how they want, you know. Growth is always like, it's like, be careful what you wished for, you know?
Yes.
I go back to, I want more people riding bikes, and gravel is making that happen because it is the fastest growing segment. It's accessible for people who might be intimidated by mountain biking. And then for anyone listening, you don't have to go to the biggest event that has the most people. If that's not you, go to your local event that has 50 people, like, and there's everything in between. So I guess that's what I would say about the growth of gravel, and I'm part of it. You know, people in my town are like, our bike shops now are selling gravel bikes, and they're like, we're selling gravel tires, and they're like, God, Reba, that's awesome. But then I'm also like Trail Creek Climb, which is the first climb in the long day on for Private Idaho. I used to never see anyone riding up that hill. It was like my own little training hill. And now I'm riding and I like see all these people riding up that hill. And you know what? I think it's awesome because they're getting off the bike path. They're going on a road that, like, I knew people that lived in Ketchum for 15 years and they'd never been over Trail Creek Summit, which is only 10 miles outside of town. And they never crossed over like into the wilderness beyond Trail Creek Summit. And so I actually feel really good about that when people are like, oh, you brought all these people out here and they're riding their bikes. I'm like, yeah. Cool. Like, how awesome is that?
So tell us a little bit about your event adventure in general, because like I find it really interesting because it's juxtaposed against when you talk about modern day equipment and bikes changing, especially gravel bikes. Your race, as far as I understand, is you've got to pick the Swiss Army bike because there's a little bit of gravel, there's a little bit of road, there's a little bit of single track. And so you got to have that right bike. So, you know, tell us a little bit about how Rebecca's Private Idaho is structured. And
Thank you. And if you know me, you know that like I like to push people, okay? And the reason I like to push people is not to hurt them. It's because I believe, you know, it's the Queen of Pain moniker. When you push outside your comfort zone, you expand yourself, however that looks. And so, it's not an easy race. It's accessible for everyone. You know, from the evolution, it started as a 100-miler. Now we have a 50, we have a 20, we have a 4-day stage race. And new for next year, even in the stage race, it used to be you'd had to do all the longest days for the stage race. But now you can do the 2 first days of the stage race and then do the 20-miler. So we're actually like trying to let people choose their own adventure. But to your point on the stage race, stage 1 is a little bit mountain bikey. 2 is an uphill time trial that I threw in for the roadies. A kickback to the roadies. People say that I don't love roadies, but it's a 4.5-mile uphill time trial. It's awesome. So like neutral 20-mile gravel ride out to the start of the hill. So that's actually my favorite day because everyone rides neutral. You still ride 50 miles, but only 4.5 miles of it are timed. It's the uphill time trial. And then the last day is, of course, the big day where we've got 20, 50, 100, and new this year is a 118-mile course. The fully baked potato. It's twice the climbing. So for folks who have done Trail Creek climb, it's a big climb. We've got another climb like that that's just as big, the 100 and the 120 course. So as far as the course, yes, Idaho gravel is not champagne gravel. It's chunky, it's bumpy, it's washboardy, but it's a true adventure. And what I love is at the finish line, people were like, whoa, that was hard. And I'm really proud of myself. Like that's what I'm going for, is that people did more than they thought they could do. And there's one section called El Diablito, if you know, that I put in there, called Little Devil. I called it that because you get off I was like, the road back home is too smooth and fast, and all the roadies are like packed in together and they're all pace lining. It's like, what can I do about that? So I threw in this little 5 mile, chunky, like embedded rock 5 mile thing to break it up. Thinking about myself at Unbound, I'm like, I would have loved a technical section to it up. So I am really trying to serve everybody. There's some technical, there's some smooth, there's lots of places where you can draft and get in a group and work together, and there's lots of places where you're alone and you're like, am I the only one out here?
Yes.
Where is everybody else? Like, there were 1,500 people at start line, I'm alone. Like, you know the feeling.
Just your stage one of your race could be its own race.
Yes.
It could be its own, like, legit year after year race, and it will still be one of the coolest races out there.
Thank you.
I remember getting on that single track. I was like, holy cow. Like, a lot of races have started doing single track, but I try to tell people, there's some friends of mine that came to your race this year, and I told them, make sure stage one, it's real. It's real. It's Rebecca's race, so be ready. It's real mountain biking. So yeah, I can attest to that.
That version of stage one, we changed it 2 years ago. It used to be way harder, and everyone's like, Rebecca, like, there's too much single track. It's too hard. And I was like, okay.
Never so much single track.
I like that. I remember, I was, you had the cutoff, right? If you didn't make the first 25 miles, and and I was like, no, I came all the way from Iowa, and I literally, after I talked to you on the trail, I'm like, I emptied myself to like get there, and you're like, you're good to go, and you're like, okay, it's easy, smooth sailing. It was gentle downhill, but as you're coming back, it is uphill.
It is.
And the sun's baking you. And hopefully you left some in the tank because you're done. By that point in time, the rest is so spread out. Really cool.
I'm glad to hear you say that, because, like, my goal is to challenge people. It's not to hurt people. It's to expand people. And I do love when people are like, that I've never ridden a gravel bike on that kind of terrain. And I'm like, see, you did it. You can do it. So it takes a little, but I love pushing people because I love seeing what happens when sort of they realize they're capable of more than they thought they were.
Yeah. So Sarah is a personal friend of mine. She's a Air Force veteran, and you really inspired her in a lot of her adventures along the way. As we know, being a military family, it's tougher for women in the military and stuff like that. But she
Sarah,
good thing to help people.
Yeah, thank you for writing that note. And yeah, Air Force 23 years. Oh my gosh. Amazing. Thank you for your service. And yeah, the ejection parachutes, my dad had to use his, and in 1973. So that was before your time, but yeah. Thank you, Sarah, for chiming in.
Yeah. Yes. So did you have something?
So just to go back to Rhea, some of these accomplishments were a little bit, the Eco Challenge.
Do you know what that is?
I used to watch the Eco Challenge. I think I've seen you on the Eco Challenge. I was close to doing adventure racing. What is it? National champion cross-country skiing?
Actually, cross-country skiing, I have a Masters World Championship.
That's what I meant. Yeah, sorry. And then there's another one here. orienteering?
Yes, I have an orienteering championship. So orienteering is basically like running with a map and compass and finding, like running through the woods like a kid, but finding the checkpoints and navigating. So yeah.
You were on the national whitewater rafting team?
Yes, U.S. women's whitewater rafting team. I competed internationally on that team. Yep.
So I guess, that's well-rounded.
You're saying that because most people think I'm a bike racer, and like quite honestly, I didn't start racing my bike till age 38. So everybody, all this other stuff was kind of like the prep.
So how do you go from Illinois, right?
Yep.
Near Chicago. And you get into Eco Challenge?
Cross country running team as a high school kid. And that's where I really found like friends, community, like that's where the endurance bug kicked in. And I just like, I found people, and I found that like my body could take me like to cool places through the woods and running around. And like, I was just this kid who wanted to run around. And so cross country was a real outlet for that for me. And then I met people that were like as dorky and weird as me and wanted to run around in the woods. And so it really started there. And I mean, that hasn't really changed. So yeah, I've done a lot of different sports, a lot of different adventures, but it's all been about exploration in nature. But yeah, I started with cross country running. I went to college. I ran in college for a little bit, but that wasn't a good experience. And I got a road bike in the cornfields of Illinois, Southern Illinois. And I worked at a health club because I was like, I know I want to use my body, but the cross country running team there wasn't a very positive experience. It just wasn't a positive experience. And so I quit the team, but I like knew I needed an outlet. And so someone told me get a road bike, and there's lots of road riding around. I'd never really rid a bike since I was a kid. And then I actually taught aerobics in a health club, like the like leg warmers, the leotard.
Like, what's that guy? Richard.
Richard Simmons.
Did you have those shorts? Were you wearing those shorts? The leotard.
Man, I wish I had pictures, but like thank God I never took it.
I had those shorts.
Oh no! Yes, we don't want to see that picture.
Grew up in the 80s, you kind of had that style. But yeah, I got into a gym. I started lifting weights, teaching aerobics, and I had a road bike. And that road bike was where I would just go. I didn't know anything about anything. And I would just go ride around in the cornfields and kind of like, whoa. And then I didn't ride a bike for a long time. I got into rock climbing. I got into whitewater rafting. I got into kayaking and adventure racing, which is the multi-sport part. And yeah, cycling really didn't come as a sport till 38. And a lot of people don't know that. So I appreciate you bringing it up.
Yeah. I mean, the Eco Challenge, that is major.
That was hardcore.
Yeah, that was.
Leadville's really hard. I'm like, it's only 7.5 hours.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Eco Challenge is days.
Like, I'm going to sleep in a bed tonight. Well, I remember when I transitioned to 24-hour mountain bike racing from adventure racing. So just for people who are listening, adventure racing, they were like international races all around the world, co-ed teams, and you had to navigate between checkpoints out in the wilderness, and you're hiking, biking, paddling, navigating. So you got to know how to use a map and compass. You're maybe horse riding, camel riding, rappelling, climbing, like all these sports mixed in together. And you got a team of 4 people that have to stay together. And like the clock never stops. You sleep when you want to sleep on the trail. So you're like really moving. It's expedition racing. And you're developing all these skills of like teamwork and like what to do when you're lost and like how to help a teammate who's slower or not better at paddling. Like I was good at climbing and paddling, but like terrible at biking. It was my worst.
Oh, wow.
So bad. And my teammates would have to fucking help me, but I was good at the other stuff. And so when I went to 24-hour mountain bikes, it was basically like adventure racing was ending. A teammate of mine died like right in front of us on a course. Our sponsorships ended. I was the team manager, like managing all of this stuff, the travel, the expenses, like doing all that plus racing with my teammates. And there was a year where it was just like a teammate died. We lost our main sponsor, and I still had Red Bull, and they're like, well, you have one more year in your contract. Just go do something.
Yeah.
And literally a few friends of mine in Idaho were like, let's go do this thing, 24 hours of Moab. And I'm like, I hate mountain biking. And they're like, just come to the desert. We'll race together. We'll hang out. It'll be fun. And I was like, okay, I'll come to the desert with you just to be with my girlfriends. Literally, it was like friends. I was really mourning, kind of the end of the career.
Yeah.
Like, I got to get a real job.
Yeah.
And it was cool. Red Bull's like, you got one more year. And it was a very small sponsorship. But we went to do 24 hours of Moab. I remember it was October. My now husband of the time, he was like, he'd done some 24-hour solo racing. So he came to crew for like a bunch of girls.
Oh, nice.
We called our team. We live in Ketchum, Idaho. And we called our team Catch 'em If You Can.
Nice.
And we raced what was the intermediate division at the time. And, we just did hot laps. And so my experience in that is I could stay up all night. I didn't care. Like the distance wasn't that long for me, but I was a terrible mountain biker. And so when I was hyper competitive. So when I was like, whatever it is, I'm going to like go as fast as I can. So I would do my laps, and literally I would get off on all the technical sections. I would run, put my bike on my shoulder. I would run. And then on the easy fire road sections, I would just like hammer.
Yeah.
Come into the change tent and be like, go. And my teammates were all like, whoa.
What the hell is going on there?
Really competitive person who can't ride a bike, basically. And my now husband is witnessing all of this, and he knew my competitive nature.
Yeah.
And from my endurance stuff, I knew that like, hey, if I can run fast, it doesn't matter. I'm passing people running the downhill on the technical section. So the clock doesn't care,
Yeah. You're still covering distance.
Right.
Yeah.
So we won our intermediate division, and we had this head-on like race with this other like ski team from Park City. And then we saw the splits and saw that. And I had the fastest lap times of any woman who pro or anything that was at 24 hours of Moab that year.
Yeah.
Running my bike.
And on top of that, you're probably mountain biker, and you like that's
And my now husband, Greg, he's like, so maybe you should do 24-hour solo mountain bike racing. And he's like, there's a race in November. Let's go up to that. It's in Spokane. I'll crew for you. And I was like, okay. So I went and did that race a month later by myself, again, running all the technical sections, being hyper competitive. But I'm like, staying up for one day, like, no big deal. Like I'm used to staying up for 7 days. And so I did that race, and I actually beat everyone in the field, including the men.
Yeah.
And then Red Bull and my bike sponsor at the time were like, okay, I guess you're going to do this bike thing. And the second race I did was nationals, 24-hour nationals, and I won that. And the third race I did was 24-hour worlds, and I was second in that. And there was the first article that was written about me for biking, because it was such a joke. Like, I'm not a cyclist, really.
When did you start riding the technical stuff?
So, the first article that was written from after 24-hour worlds was called "Winning Ugly." And
Winning ugly.
Yeah, and they're like, this girl sucks.
Ridiculous.
I'm like, well, I can run my bike really fast. So, and my husband, I have to give him kudos because he had already been doing 24-hour solo racing, and he's a really good technical rider. He grew up in Virginia, and so like East Coast riding is hard. And so he's taught me a lot. I've gotten better technically. But yeah, that was kind of the start into the cycling scene. And really it was only because I had endurance chops that like I knew how to stay up. I knew how to eat and drink. I knew how to go hard for a long time. But that really kind of was the launch of this whole second half of my career that involved cycling. So it was really kind of fun.
Yeah.
Okay. So I recently, this is a personal advice for me. Graham, I don't need any of your feedback right now. Okay. So I attempted to do the Mega Mid-South here in late October, and I failed miserably.
What happened?
You stopped riding your bike.
I stopped riding my bike.
Very simple answer.
And I didn't train enough. But how do you fuel for like a 24-hour race? How do you do that?
Yeah,
Like-
I mean, I've heard someone say, like with Leadville too, it's like a bike racing, or it's like an eating contest that, you know, is mirrored in a bike race. And I do think nutrition is the one thing in endurance that people really fail at. You can be the fittest person in the world, and if you don't fuel right, you don't fuel the tank, you're not
Well, that's
going to.
Maria.
Yeah. So what I do
Minus,
in general,
minus the fetus.
every hour you got to break it down. Every hour there's a certain number of calories, there's a certain number of electrolytes, there's a certain number of fluid, and you have to kind of stay on this schedule. And it's kind of hard discipline because, you know, when you're working really hard, you don't feel like eating and you don't like eating and you're not hungry at all. But you got to put gas in the tank. So it is actually an experience thing that I see young endurance people often miss at nutrition. So liquid calories are always my friend. I'm a big fan of Goo Roctane because it has like 230 calories in one, you know, powdered drink. And so you're getting fuel while you're drinking, because often it's hard to chew when you're breathing real hard. It's hard to chew.
Yeah.
But it's a learning, it's a process. And I always tell people that you got to train your eating as much as you train your body. You got to train your gut.
Yeah, I struggle with that big time for sure.
Yeah.
I tried when I did the Gravel Worlds, I had cut up sausages stuffed in my handlebar bag.
And sometimes that's great. And sometimes the stuff that you look at home and you're like, I love peanut butter pretzels. This is going to be the best thing ever. But then when you're out there in the race, you're like, I don't want to eat that.
Yeah.
You know, so you do have to have a variety and you have to practice with it. I know the first year I went to Iditarod and, you know, rode in Alaska in the winter on my bike. I really messed up my food, and I brought all this stuff that seemed good at home, but when it's frozen.
Yeah, I was just going to say it's frozen.
Yeah, it's no good.
You can't bite into anything. And so then I came home the second year and I actually like made all this food at home and would like put it in my freezer and then like take it out
try
and
it
and be like, can I eat it? And started cutting everything up into really small bits. And like, I actually made my own cookie recipe of like these little like date balls and, you know, salty balls, I like to call them, that
salty balls. That's great.
Like super high calorie. You know, I could eat them. They tasted good. And so salty balls saved me year 2 in Iditarod. But like the whole first year, I couldn't eat anything. I just carried all this food through Alaska and like literally ran on fumes, and then had to come back second year and really practice with it.
Yeah.
So,
I just don't. Oh,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, you're good.
No, I'm
You're
just
good.
gonna say for those that don't know, what is Iditarod?
So the Iditarod Trail is this beautiful historic trail in Alaska, and they do a dog sled race on it. And there's a lot of really cool iconic history. You can check my YouTube channel if you want to watch some of the videos. They're really awesome. But the Iditarod Trail Invitational is the human-powered version where you can bike, ski, or run it. And you're on the same trail as the dog sled race. It's like in the wilderness in Alaska, very, very remote. Temps are like can get to -40, super self-supported. It's the ultimate winter bike expedition, or ski or foot. And so I went and did that. I think the first year I did that was 2019, maybe. And I hadn't had a big challenge in a while. I knew I was kind of missing some adventure. So it is the hardest thing I've ever done. And the proudest thing I've done is like 3 years of completing that, 2 years of winning it. But you're fully self-supported.
Yeah.
You've got a -40 sleeping bag. You're carrying all this stuff on your bike. The bike's probably,
I was going to say, how heavy?
60 pounds.
60 pounds.
With all this stuff, you know, if you're riding, great. If the conditions are good, or you're pushing, you know, I've been years where you're like thigh deep snow and you're being a
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think that one of those years it was a really bad snow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an amazing expedition. But here's what I love, and kind of the same as what I said about Rebecca's Private Idaho. I knew I hadn't challenged myself in a number of years to something that like I was scared of. And so that's why I went to Iditarod. I'm not good in the cold. I have lung issues. I have circulation issues, but it scared me. And so I'm like, I need to go do what scares me, and got the equipment together. And I'm really proud of doing that. And, that's in my 50s doing that. And so for anyone listening, like, why do people push and do hard things? Because that's how we grow. And, you stop growing, then you stop living. And so, yeah, that whole Alaska winter bike expedition thing has been a really cool part of the journey.
Well, we'll send Graham up there with you.
Yeah, send me up there. Let the polar bears come after me.
He loves the cold.
Yeah, that's why I retreated.
The bears are sleeping at that time, so you're fine. But the wolves, they're out, and you can hear them howling.
Yeah, no.
Maria loves the bears.
Perfect.
I don't do bears. I don't do bears.
You talk about big adventures, and that I think we all can like relate to that feeling of just needing to push ourselves, right? I think that's why we all do this, right? Mm-hmm. It's either the next big ride that you want to do tomorrow or some big event or something that you have. But what is your next big scary thing that you're going to do?
Yes.
I'm so glad you asked that, because I will say for everyone listening, I've been 4 years in post-concussion, long-term post-concussion recovery symptoms. Last weekend was kind of my return to racing. I went and did a winter bike expedition. I went and did Fat Pursuit, a 200-mile or 200K ride in Idaho. It took me 28 hours and 6 minutes. And I was so happy because I had not done a long endurance ride in over 3 years with concussion recovery. And so in 2 weeks, I go to Morocco to do the Atlas Mountain Race with my husband, which is about 850-mile self-supported bike packing event through the Atlas Mountains of Morocco.
Yeah.
I asked my husband, I'm like, hey, can we race as a team? Because he got me into 24-hour racing. Like, we ride together all the time. And I was like, would you go to Morocco with me? And like, I really want to get back to these big adventure rides. And so we're racing as a team. We're fundraising for Be Good Foundation, which is my foundation, for our girls mentorship program. Well, you know about the foundation because you are a fellow. So 2 weeks I go to Morocco, and I was just right before we got on here, I'm like, looking at the weather. We go up to 10,000 feet. There's snow right now in the mountains. And I'm just like, how do I pack for this? But I'm so excited to get back to big adventure, because it's, like I said, it's been a dark few years of recovering from a brain injury, and where I really kind of lost myself, and I didn't ride. And a lot of people don't know this. I hid it for a while, but I didn't ride my bike for a long time.
I wondered. I hadn't seen a lot of videos, of you out there, and you want to be too nosy about, I wonder what's going on. But I would see you moving around, so I was like, okay, she's healthy at least on the outside, Yeah.
They call it an invisible injury. And to be honest with you, I hid it for a long time because I didn't want to admit it to myself that I was injured. I didn't want to lose my job. I didn't want to appear weak, queen of pain, that kind of stuff. And it's the friggin' hardest thing I've ever done to come back from that. But I'm really happy to say that, riding bikes and being outside and moving has saved my life now. And I'm so stoked to go to Morocco in a couple of weeks, because I'm just I recognize myself again, which is actually really cool. So for anyone out there who's been off their bike, or they struggle to get on their bike, or there's a day where I don't want to get on my bike, the absolute best physical and mental health that we can do is move outside in the outdoors. And what I've learned about brain health and in this whole, actually, I'm pretty grateful. I'm grateful that it happened, because what I've learned about how important movement is and community is, that's what I lost, you know,
Yeah.
in my concussion recovery, and seeing, wow, how that can go away, but then how you can also get it back by literally
Yeah.
getting outside and joining a group of friends to go do an easy ride. It doesn't have to be Alaska. It doesn't have to be Morocco. It doesn't have to be the Unbound. But
As
yeah,
long as it's not Tennessee.
yeah, like this is how we survive as people. And I'm gonna get a little deep here, but like we need to ride our bikes for a lot more than whatever place that we finish in whatever random race. We need to ride our bikes for the health of ourselves, but the health of the world around us.
Absolutely. And I want to ask one other question. What do you think getting into cycling later, does that increase your longevity in cycling? And can you talk about aging and still competing at a high level?
Yeah.
How do you juggle those things?
Yeah. So I'm 57, and I like to tell people that because like this is what it looks like. You can
55.
Yeah, there you go. So you can still do a 28-hour fat bike race in the snow when you're You can go to Morocco and ride 900 miles. So I think it's important to see examples of like what it looks like. One of my heroes, Diana Nyad, she's in her 70s and she's one of my female athlete heroes. She's an ultra endurance swimmer. You guys can look her up. But yeah, I don't think that starting cycling later has maybe necessarily like been that big of an impact. I think what's important is variety. So people ask me, why have you changed and done so many different things? Because like variety is a spice of life. Like I like to mountain bike, I like to gravel bike, I like to cross country ski, I like to walk my dogs, I like to run a little. I do see athletes that stick to only one sport. You start to see overuse injuries, you start to see back pain or whatever else. So I do think it's great to mix it up. And I think honestly, whatever curiosity, the neuroscience shows that curiosity is like one of the best motivators. So when I asked my husband, like, would you want to go to Morocco? It was like, yeah. So then we start training and we start getting ready for it and we start like doing stuff. And so whatever makes you curious. And if I look at all of my careers, like what if, like, could I do Leadville? Like it's so short. Could I really compete in 100-mile race coming from 24 hours? So I think curiosity is one of the most important motivators, but I don't think starting later helped me. I think this is about mixed surfaces. I think having mixed experiences is really important. So whether you're a road racer, gravel racer, mountain bike racer, runner, skier, whatever, like however you get outside and move, like you got to do it and you got to do it with other people.
Yeah. Now I was reading an article the other day how like the modern human doesn't move nearly enough as we should. We should really be getting outside early in the morning, getting the sun, and then late in the afternoon, in the evening, just moving seems to be a cure for a lot of things.
This is what I've learned from my brain injury is that like we're kind of fucking ourselves, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So I talked to a person, this really like visual therapist person, and what we're doing by being inside and on screens is we're narrowing our focus in and we're shortening our focus. And your eyes are. I know that's Henry. Your eyes, they call it the window to your soul, but your eyes are really the window to your brain. Your eyes are part of your brain. And so what we're doing on screens and being inside is we're actually like shrinking our brain. I'm just going to put it in really simple terms. And so when you go outside, you widen your view and you lengthen your view. So even looking out at the mountains or looking out your window while you're on a screen, but like even better yet, go ride your bike so that your eyes and your brain are looking around. And then at the same time, you're moving blood flow, you're moving hormones, you're moving neurochemicals. Like this is my mission in life people need to go outside and move.
Yeah,
Like,
we're natural people. Well, all this is constructed. We just build all this stuff around us to, you know, but
actually
we're supposed to be outside.
it's killing us, to
Yeah.
be honest with you. So people who like, I don't want to go on a bike ride today, like you get to go on a bike ride today, and it's so good for your brain and your body. And like what I noticed when I stopped riding during my concussion is my work suffered, my relationship suffered, my mental health suffered, my self-esteem suffered. I was basically a shell, and I was spiraling down. And as soon as I got outside, and I'll give thanks to my dogs, like literally I had to walk my dogs every day. And, you know, that was like maintaining the baseline. But when we go out and ride, oh my gosh, like
It just fixes. I feel like it fixes everything. Like you might even be stressed, and you get on that bike, and you just forget about everything. You just ride. It's you and the bike.
it fixes everything. That's it does. It really does. So yeah.
Lindsay yells at me if I'm not riding my bike, she yells at me.
Well,
Get angsty.
you're an asshole. Go ride your bike.
Yes, because you know he's grumpy. He's walking around the house and trying to fix stuff. Go ride your bike. Go ride your bike.
Tell her I've learned to just kind of be a little annoying so that she tells me to go ride.
Good reverse tactic. I love it.
Well, Rebecca, I feel like we've done a disservice now that we're an hour in and haven't talked about your foundation other than in brief passing. I would love to hear a little bit more. I know we've got it scrolling across the bottom, the Be Good Foundation. I am a father of 2 girls, a year-old and 3 years old. So, you know, different perspective in my life up until this time. And so I'm super excited about opportunities, especially in cycling and adventure. So maybe could you tell us a little bit about your foundation, how it got started, and what you got going on over there?
Thank you for asking that. So 10 years ago, I did the most important ride of my life. I rode the Ho Chi Minh Trail through Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. And I went to look for the place where my dad's plane was shot down in 1972. He was a fighter pilot in the Vietnam-American conflict. And I put together this adventure to go ride, go find him. Like, I didn't know, like he didn't survive the crash. And I just wanted to go combine, you know, my bike exploration with my personal history. And that ride, what I discovered along the way was, one, all the unexploded ordnance that are still left from the war. I rode with a Vietnamese woman who I didn't know. She didn't speak English, and just like finding the connection, you know, to myself, my personal history, another human who'd been on like the quote unquote other side of this war. And I just really came home feeling like my dad signed all of his letters home with the words "Be Good." And his last letter he wrote said, "If anything should happen, please don't let me die. To Sharon and Becky. Be good, Steve." And I really heard those words when I came back, and I was like, how can I be good? Like, what can I do more than winning podiums and doing all this stuff? And that's when I launched the foundation, the Be Good Foundation. And one of our major projects is we clean up unexploded ordnance along the Ho Chi Minh Trail where I rode. Like the bombs that are, you know, left from war 50 years ago are still killing villagers there. And so that's part of our project. But the other big part of the Be Good Foundation is to change lives through bikes. And however that looks, getting girls on bikes, getting, you know, underserved communities on bikes, getting, just like I said earlier, I believe if everyone rode bikes together, the world would be a much different place. So that's what the Be Good Foundation is about. And it's become a really important part of my legacy and like me honoring my dad's instructions to me. And so, yeah, while I'm riding in Morocco, I'm really excited. We'll open a fundraising campaign. My husband and I are racing as Team Be Good, and we'll open a fundraising campaign that will be targeted towards our girls mentorship program that's going on this year. And that's going to be a ride mentorship program, mechanics mentorship, and also creative mentorship program. So for photographers, videographers, women who want to get into that field in sport, in cycling. And so, yeah, it's really near and dear to my heart. And honestly, it's you're a parent, Graham, and it's my dad's instructions to me. And so it's me trying to be a good daughter for for my dad and take what I know with cycling and spread that love and joy to more people.
No, that's so inspiring. And I really, I want to touch on the point too, where, you know, so many, I feel like a lot of influential people in the adventure space or the cycling space, they take that step to create a foundation, but more often than not, it's pointed towards the pointy end of the sport or the pointy end of whatever the activity is. So I really want to take a note and comment on the fact that especially the creative side of your mentorship piece. I mean, I think that's super inspiring because, you know, you talk about accessibility and you know what your adventure is, and it's just another avenue that I think a lot of people would love to pursue, but they don't know necessarily how to blend their desire to ride bikes and then also to take pictures, or you see vlogs with all like these new cyclists and things like that. I mean, just such a cool thing to have a mentorship because you've done this, you know, at the highest level, and to be able to pass that along, I think is really inspiring. And I know my girls will look up to it, but I just wanted to make a comment on that.
Thank you. Because I'm a racer, but I'm also an entrepreneur. I'm a business owner. I'm a creative. And there's a lot that goes into being in the sports industry. And if they love sports and they want to work in their love, you know, they may not be an elite racer, but yeah, we want to provide accessibility for a lot of people. And also someone maybe doesn't even need to work in that field. They just want to be in it because, like we said, it feels good when you ride your bike. And if we get more people connected and more friends connected, and especially girls are intimidated, you know, I can speak from experience. If I hadn't found that high school cross country running team and felt a supportive community, I don't know that I would have gotten into sports if somebody hadn't said, my neighbor girl who was a little older than me said, hey, come to the team. Like, I'll support you. And like, you kind of need an invitation sometimes. You need somebody to be like, hey, come along. I'll show you. Because otherwise it's kind of too hard to get in. So I do hope to be an invitation for more people to find the magic of cycling.
Absolutely. Well said. Couldn't have said it better myself. No, I think, for example, now Gravel community here, we try to make sure that we make everybody is welcome, you know, and keeping the mansplaining down, you know, keep that to yourself, you know, because we want more women in there, because I think I don't remember what it was, but I was trying to figure out, I was somewhere in a race and just looking at how life is in the US. It's like, I was like, there's a ratio of like 2,000 people and there's only like 100 women, you know, and I just couldn't understand how that would be. I would expect it to be 1,000 women, 1,000 men, but the disparity is there, and we still have a long way to go. Even on some of the biggest races, there's still not enough women and, you know, people of color also. So that's good to see that.
Yeah, welcoming, and it's why I launched a gravel event for Rebecca's Private Idaho. To go back to it, is that I didn't want it to be intimidating. Yeah, it's hard. You can go as hard as you want. You can push as hard as you want, but I wanted everyone to feel welcome. And I am proud that we've had over since the beginning, we've always had more than 30% female participation. It's not 50. I would like it to be 50 because that's representative of our, you know, population. But 30 is even still really high. And I'm like, that's probably one of the highest out there, to be honest. Yeah, and we got to close to 40 one year, and you know, that is my mission, because here's the deal. Like, think about a party that you go to. Like, it's more fun if it's a diverse group of people.
Yes, absolutely.
You're just like,
absolutely.
More fun. I've got a bunch of different people that I can talk to, I can hang with, I can dance with, I can ride with. So I mean, that is my goal, is to really have cycling be representative of our population base.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. You guys have anything else?
I will say I've seen some of the NICA races out in this side of the country, down in Virginia. There's a ton of girls doing the NICA.
NICA.
I don't know what the ratio is. I don't know what the numbers are, but I went to one in Charlottesville and there was 600 kids there, and I bet close to
Wow.
half of them were girls. I mean,
That's so good. So how
Yeah.
to keep them in it? You know?
That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Is like the conversion. I wasn't going to go this dark way, but now I have. You baited me out. Now, like it's been such a positive podcast, but that's my thing. Is like the U.S. is so good at instilling interest at a young age, especially in the off-road scene. But the statistics say that like the NICA scene does not feed to like a sustained involvement in the sport, and I think it would be worth doing a deep dive as to why. And I think there are lots of clear answers, but some other things. But yeah, that's the problem. Like,
yeah. So, Graham, I want to say something to that because that's actually a really important point. A couple of years ago at Sea Otter, I went and I hosted a sort of panel and this group thing. I was like, so I used to do the SRAM Gold Rush tour.
Say it 5 times fast.
Yeah, I know.
I can't say
but I started it in like, I don't know, 2008 or something. And it was like to get more women and girls involved in mountain biking. And we hosted all these free clinics, all these free rides, and programs sprung from that. And so now what you see on the trail, you see representation for women and girls. You see a ton of women riding. What you don't see now, the next layer, and this is kind of to your NICA point. So we got people involved. The next layer, and I went to Sea Otter a couple years ago, and I'm like, the next layer is like, why are there no women in cycling leadership? Why are there no women? Why is the percentage so low of people working within SRAM, working within these big companies, working as creatives? And so, I mean, we're getting there, but that's the next layer, is to level up from youth and participation to actually being a meaningful contributing part of the industry.
Having agency.
We aren't there yet, but I think that's the next layer of leadership, of like women event directors, women creatives, women, in the CEO positions in bike leadership. And it's slowly happening, but that I think is a really good conversation to have. And that NICA example is really good. People are invited in, but why don't they stay?
Right.
And so like, that's something for us to work on.
I think it is.
And I think it's evident too. It's like, if you look at some of the gravel, like a couple of women groups that I follow on Instagram, that they're led by women and mainly for women, and they're pretty successful. And I think just because, women are able to find a space, they're like, okay, we have these knowledgeable people, they have women mechanics. So I think it's getting better, but yeah, we definitely still have work to do.
Where it will really, you want to have a safe space for entry. And then where it really happens is when you don't need a separate space.
Right.
It's just one space, and everyone feels safe without having to have a subgroup.
Yeah.
That's when we'll know where
that's when we've achieved nirvana. Namaste.
Exactly.
All right. My last question. When is Rebecca's Private Idaho? Because it's now on the top of my bucket list. I'm gonna have to get out there now.
September 9th. 12th. Actually, this is the first we're moving it off Labor Day. So we're moving it a weekend past Labor Day. And actually, because we've grown big enough that we need our own weekend. And so it's September 9th through 12th. Again, we got 4 days of racing. It's so awesome. It's our #1 fundraiser for the Be Good Foundation. And I'm not going to lie, it's the most beautiful gravel event in the world. No shade to anybody else. It's stunning here. Like, it's why I live here. It's such a beautiful place to ride a bike. So you're all invited. I'll be here. I'd love to ride with you. And maybe we can do a little discount or code or something like that after the fact.
Absolutely. Yeah, we can definitely throw it out there and get some of our viewers out there. I want to bring these two here so I can show them what Sun Valley looks like.
I think I rode 88 miles in Idaho.
Yeah?
That's right, for Tour Divide.
Tour Divide.
You've done Tour Divide. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Bucket list event for me. Maybe I'll have
I was going to ask you, how come?
Yes, actually, I would have thought you've done that.
Yeah.
I have not done it. I think it might be. You heard it here first. I think it might be 2027.
Hey.
So I'm feeling back. For a long time, like
Yeah.
I said, I was like, I can't make any plans. I don't know what I can do. But
And I want to go back and do it
Yeah?
again.
you liked it? How many
Oh,
days?
I was,
How many days were you on the
I
trip?
did 25.
25. Nice.
Yeah.
And you
I
loved
did. Every second.
it?
If you ask my wife, I would call her, almost every day. Somewhere I got cell service, usually on top of a mountain. I just call her and say hello. A couple of days I called her up and she's like, "How you doing? How you feeling?" I said, "Well, I felt like today was effortless." Just
That's magic.
yeah. The key I thought was not letting yourself getting into the bad headspace. If somebody had a negativity thing, I was like walking away. I don't want to hear it. Well, I'm finishing this, and that's all there is.
Walking
to it.
away from Graham.
Oh, come on now.
You just ride away, or you sit down and you let them go. Yeah.
But I wanted to go back in 2021 and do it because that's when I turned 50. I'm like, I'm going to do it when I turn 50, and it wasn't open. So, and then I've been moving back and forth, and I still have maybe I'll do it when I'm 60, but no, I think, or maybe I'll do it in 2027.
Maybe I'll see you on the course. You
Yeah.
know?
Tour Divide is not on my list because of one thing. Bears.
The Bears. The Bears.
I can't ride the bike with my shotgun. It's just not gonna, if I crash, then I shoot myself. I don't know. So it's,
You don't want a shotgun it, or you'll just piss them off with a shotgun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I need to finish the Mega Mid South before I can even think about that. But the Bears just kind of scare the crap out of me. I'm like, I don't know.
Think about Bears. Okay.
Yeah.
2027 Mixed Services Challenge. Tour Divide.
Yeah. No,
Whoa.
Whoa. Throw down.
Whoa.
not this guy. Not this guy.
You can film us.
All
You
you
can
have to
film
do
us.
is
I'll film you guys. I'll be there. You know what though? I'll be out there for you guys every day, and I'll film. I'll make the best documentary ever of Tour Divide.
You just got to be faster than Graham.
That's right.
Yeah,
It's faster than your
on a
friends.
loaded bike. Awesome. All right, Jason, you got any more questions for Rebecca?
I think I'm good. Yeah.
Thank you
it was
so
wonderful
much.
meeting you. I want to come and hang out in Idaho.
I want to ride with you guys. This is fun. I feel like we could have a really good chat. Actually, I think we should record a podcast on the trail and actually
That'd be fun.
do a ride, talking, chatting, running from bears, the whole thing.
Oh yeah.
Well, we can't do single track though because Aria won't be able to talk because he grips the bike so hard, and, so.
I see. They
milder,
got jokes. They got
Oh,
jokes.
God.
You know, Rebecca. I was the Ugandan national champion in mountain biking back in
Mm,
'98.
yeah. Wow.
What?
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I was gonna say no way. Oh, gosh.
Awesome,
All right.
awesome.
Well, let's shut it down. Thanks, everyone. Thanks to sponsors. Thanks for people in the comments. If you got questions, email us. We always love to talk about things you guys like to hear about. And Rebecca, thank you so much. What a pleasure to have a legend here on the podcast. So, I think with that, we should probably sign it off. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
fun,
let's
you all.
end-
Thank you.
And the stream.